Welcome everybody. Welcome to our special edition organized by BioClub next to the Grow Working with the cooperation of the Health and Life Science Cluster Bulgaria and Sofia Tech Park. Today for me it's a great pleasure to represent you the first worldwide upcoming female entrepreneurship program, GRID. I promise you a very interesting edition. I will meet you with fantastic speakers from Microsoft, from Roche Bulgaria, from Boston Innovation. So stay with us and I promise you a great show. And at the end of this special webinar, I hope that we'll have more attracted friends to our idea and our cause of today's webinar. My name is Kristina Eskenazi and I will be today host that is quite excited. You can see from my actually voice. Together with me in the studio is Urnica, not because I'm not suited to be alone, but also because I'm counting on her to support me in this fantastic event. Today we will share a really good news for the Bulgarian ecosystem, opportunities that any female entrepreneur actually is dream, and now they are quite open and they are here very close to us. But before this, I will share a little bit more about the Bulgarian opportunities. Do you believe that it is possible to have 100 spin-offs in Bulgaria only till 2030? Zori, what do you think? Is it possible?
Of course it's possible.
Yeah. It is great because actually in Bulgaria we're having a very good statistic. We have 5 medical universities, over 11,000 students in the field of the medicine, biotech, pharmacy. We have 476 medical centers. We have 42,000 STEM education, 63 research centers, and many more, and very smart and brilliant people that I hope today will contribute the most. I want to share with you that you can asking your questions, of course, to discuss and to take opinion through after the video. You can share your comments, of course, following us into social media, and we are here happily to answer all of your questions. The first thing that I want to share with you that first time when I hear about the GRID program, I was really excited because opportunity to meet so great inspirational people that supporting innovation with such passion is something that is really exciting, and I'm sure that you will feel the vibe of this energy also. Let me introduce you the amazing inspirator of this fantastic initiative, Diane Nevin, who is actually the director of the program, and I hope that she will share with us how everybody can actually join the program as a mentor, as an applicator, as a startup. So hi Diane, how are you?
Kristina, how are you? Thank you so much. Will I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, just bear with me.
I'm quite excited. I'm sure that the program will attract a lot of people. So yeah, the floor is yours.
Just bear with me now. So you can see my slides? Yep. Perfect. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, and thank you, Kristina, personally for hosting this event. I'm looking forward to hearing the amazing speakers and learning more about the ecosystem within Bulgaria and the innovation. And I'd also like to thank our partners that are here, Microsoft and Roche, and our board member also from Boston Scientific. So thank you all. My name again, as Kristina had said, was Diane Nevin. I'm CEO and Program Director of the GRIT International Program that I'm here to discuss today with you. So just a little bit around GDTHealthNetwork. So we're Global Digital Technologies Health Network, and we are a non-for-profit membership organisation registered in Ireland. And our objective really is to work to provide a global network for digital health and life science to collaborate with industry, academia and public sector organisations. And I'm extremely proud from, within Ireland, as an ecosystem, we do that extremely well. So involving all ecosystems and stakeholders to work really towards a solution. And we're really building on that and looking towards a global network of how can we actually look at, and the services that we aim to provide really is in-person and online events, to have a transfer of knowledge and understanding, a membership organisation for collaboration and networking, to look at projects or possible projects in the future. We're also looking at the education piece, which is really important, as a member, exploring and having workshops around many different really interesting areas around data, ethics, AI and cybersecurity and med devices, all of the regulation and legislation that we're looking at. So really interesting areas. And really importantly is the accelerator program piece. So, it's a personal passion of mine. Also, I've worked a lot of experience over the years with female founders and within digital health female founders. And it was something from my own passion and also from the board. We have a really strong established international board, and we're all really here together for the same purpose and the same vision, is to support female entrepreneurs. And, with that support is with our partners that are here again today, Roche and Microsoft, because again, we need that support to develop the program, and we really appreciate their support. And the mentorship in terms of building up a global network of mentors is a huge support. So just a little bit around the accelerator program, GRIT Accelerator program. So our aim again is to enable female entrepreneurs operating in digital health and life science with the knowledge and confidence required to scale their individual business. So that's a really important area for us, is that we want to improve the gender diversity, because we're aware that currently there are many challenges for women that wants to grow and scale their business, certainly in emerging markets, as opposed to perhaps male-orientated teens. And we want to help with that gender diversity piece, really, and enable females to have the confidence to build their business case documents, to go out and raise funding, and also to educate them in the type of funding that's there and the stages that they may go through, really, as an overall process. So I'll just give you an overview of the program that we will be looking at. So it's a 10-week online, very intense program, and it's a good way, I guess, to kick off and say that, you know, there is no cost for this program. There's no equity taken. It's just really, again, we're a non-profit. We're all around the diversity and to build up the skills and the capabilities for female founders in these industries. So if we look at leadership, we look at, you know, leader transition, influence and impact. So again, to initially start the program, firstly for females to identify what type of current leader are they at the moment in terms of, you know, their influence skills, their impact, how will they influence a global team if they were to build it out, how will they have an impact on that team, and how will they influence investors to trust them and support and help them build out their network. We look at product market fit frameworks, again, around market adoption, and the gap analysis. So really important around, you know, many of the benchmarking types of frameworks to build and understand whether it's a service or a device that we're building overall. We look at international market challenges and cultures. So a really big key area, again, for females, because it's an international program, is to understand, how do I operate outside my home market? And that's a really key area for us to understand, you know, emerging markets, competition, innovation, perhaps legal requirements, language barriers, all the areas really that as a founder, when you start to scale, that there are challenges around. We also look at ethical issues, digital governance. So due diligence, a really, really key area that, again, when you're going for investment and you're pitching for investment, you're asking investors to trust you. To trust, and in order for them to trust, again, you have to have due diligence, that they understand that you have the right policies and procedures in place, and that you have perhaps an established board. Is it diverse enough? Lots of areas that, again, needs to be concrete before you actually go through the investment route. And again, around the data, access data, reuse and ethical concerns, really important, because when we look at perhaps all of the data that the founders actually gather to help them build their business, how they actually generated the data originally, are they using it currently for the same reuse, or are they reusing it for a different way? So even there is a legal requirement, but there's certainly an ethical concern around that. And that seems to be a big area that investors are looking, and they're expecting an ethical framework when you actually pitch for investment, that you show the ethics and the due diligence around that. So we will look at that, ethical issues and digital governance throughout. We always, and also look around cybersecurity. So the cybersecurity side of it, awareness and culture and frameworks. So the data that we've just spoken about, that you're gathering, you have a legal obligation, you have an ethical obligation to keep it safe. So start off again with the awareness, and we look at how you build out that culture overall. We look at the AI piece, again, around regulations and ethics, and again, how it's currently been used at the moment in healthcare. So at the moment, it's been written in terms of policy and legislation for regulation around AI and digital. So it's something that we're looking at in terms of, we'll do a case study of how you can actually develop that with as a structure. I have it down as a topic around raising investment, but I just like to note it's something that we look at all through the process. Because again, when you're building your own business document throughout, you're looking at, well, how will I raise investment to this particular piece? But then we also look at, you know, you putting together strong metrics, you're pitching a strong pitch deck, perhaps a term sheet. And we also have venture capitalists that will be teaching as industry experts. And we're having a discussion perhaps with female founders that have gone on to raise the type of investment, and having a panel discussion with them in terms of a workshop. So a really interesting area for you to get a really strong and solid understanding. And of course, then we're leading into the mentorship. And currently, I'm just really amazed and appreciative in terms of all the mentorship applications that we're getting through in terms of the support for female entrepreneurs. So again, you know, it depends on the industry that the female is in. It depends on the requirements. We'll personally align the mentor and go through the process. Just a quick overview of the program structure. Again, I'd like to thank our partners with IBM, Microsoft and Roche that's here today, Sigma Recruitment, Harani and Intertrade Ireland. And just a quick overview of the program. I'd like to say again that it's a very intense program, and it's run over 10 weeks. So again, it's GMT, so that would be 7:30 to 9 p.m. in Bulgaria. And the industry expert would deliver the content on the Tuesday and Thursday and help you frame that structure in terms of your business case document. And the Saturday workshops then are led into to allow the females participants to work on their own business case document, have a one-to-one and a conversation, very interactive session with the industry leader that would have developed the content or delivered the content, excuse me, on the Tuesday and Thursday. And it would also allow females to come together and work together as a cohort and have conversations. There then is a short break, and we're privileged to have our masterclass delivered by our partners. So again, market leaders delivering, if there's a piece around cybersecurity or leadership, any of those particular areas, and having discussions with senior leaders within those organizations. So we're thrilled with that end. The timeline, I just want to touch on it very briefly. It opened on the 1st of December, and already it's closed on the 21st of February. So time is going quite quickly. So we're really interested again to get a good variation of females from different industries within medtech and health tech. And again, the application starts on the 22nd of March. A little bit around the companies that should apply for the program. So again, there are female startups and diverse teams. So perhaps, you have male founders in your team and you're operating in digital health or life science. Again, around the technologies or service. So they have to have a big impact on digital health or life science. And you have some form of proof of concept. So some form of functional prototype at the moment. And perhaps you have already a product or some traction. So really just as an overview, we only accept full-time founders. We don't accept companies, again, that are still in the idea stage or that are part-time founders. So if you're full-time, you have some proof of concept, you're hoping to raise funding perhaps over the next 6 to 18 months, you're working in this particular area, you want to be part of an international network and cohort and mentorship, this is the program for you. What countries can apply? Again, any female founders or diverse teams based in the UK or over throughout the EU. The process is we have these two evaluators will look at your application around market traction, growth potential, the team strength and founder diversity. So we'll take all of those into consideration as we review the applications. And if you're shortlisted, we'll have a short discussion. And again, just as an overview of how do you apply, the information, I'll put it in the chat also, gritfemaleaccelerator.com. You can reach us. The application is through the website on F6S, and we've also added Google Forms there for convenience. So there's two options to put through. I'll put the email address also, or you can contact me or our chair of board, Kristina, that's here today. Happy to have a discussion really around the program. And that's just really an overview of the program. I just want to say thank you to the speakers that are here today from Bulgaria, our board members and our partners. I really appreciate it. And thank you for Kristina for giving me the opportunity to have this conversation.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you that you invite us to join Bulgaria as an ecosystem, our ecosystem next to this program. It's a really great opportunity for us and for our growing ecosystem. Talking about leadership, I promised today to make some kind of a bridge. I wanted to share more insight from Bulgarian side, but also to connect it with this fantastic program. That's why for me it's a fantastic pleasure to meet some of they are all friends of mine, of course. Those are people that actually are very well known as a supporter of the innovative ecosystem, as inspirator of a lot of females in science. And for me, it's a great pleasure to meet you with some of those inspirational people. Of course, I will allow them because everybody know I talk too much, and I will try to not do these times and to provide more stages to our fantastic guests. I want to represent you and to provide opportunity to our Bulgarian leaders to share a little bit more about them. And of course, I hope that at the end we'll have a fantastic discussion how actually we can contribute the most of this fantastic program. So starting with Rumyana Grozeva. Hi, Rumyana. Are you here? Hi.
Hi, Chris. Hello,
Hi
everybody.
To Stara,
Please,
Zagora.
first of all, thank you very much for having me today. And thank you very much for your great efforts to build this so important ecosystem that we need here in Bulgaria. Actually, let me say first some words for me. I'm Executive Director of the Regional Development Agency of Stara Zagora. It's one of the biggest regions in Bulgaria, and currently we face the challenge to decarbonize our economy as far the biggest lignite coal basin is located in our region. And this is why to support female entrepreneurship is really, really important for us, because I'm sure that all of this, it's a kind of joke, of course, but for me it's also true. All of these men that should change their job positions, that should start some new entrepreneurship or something like this, losing their jobs in mining industry, they'll need support by their wives, their daughters, in order to be more confident. And this is why, for me, female entrepreneurship actually will be leading in this process. I'm sure, I'm convinced in that. From the other hand, here in the region is located Track University. The university is a member of the agency. And what is specific in this university is its multidisciplinarity in all of the departments and faculties that it has, because we have medicine, also veterinary medicine, and we have economy faculty and business incubator, which actually match these two issue, health and entrepreneurship. And from the third side is the European Digital Innovation Hub, Zagore, which is relatively new as an organization, but it's focused on digital health. And thanks to the BioCluster, which is also a member of the hub, I'm sure that we do the necessary to build this ecosystem here at the regional level, not only on national level in Sofia, but also in the region of Stara Zagora. And this program and the young presentation actually was very useful for me in order to make some very important notes to share with the colleagues from the university, and we discuss later on with Kristina how we could integrate and implement this program or whole program here in our region, and also to announce it among the students and to push them to apply if they're ready for that.
Yeah, great.
Thanks,
wow,
Chris.
fantastic news. I'm sure that we'll find a way how actually to contribute the region. We are very happy as a Health and Life Science Cluster Bulgaria to be part of this digital innovation hub. We count on really startup, spin-off, scientific society gathering together, and of course to support with our network. Thank you, Rumi. Our next guest from the Bulgarian domain is Daniela Zeleva. She's quite interesting. She has a domain as a scientist, but also right now she's part of the first venture build studio in Bulgaria. Hi, Daniela.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Pleasure to see you as usual. Okay,
Nice.
can you please share a little bit more about you and about this venture studio? But because I'm sure that a lot of people will be interested in it.
Sure. Nice to meet you all, and thank you very much, Kristina, for inviting me to this really fantastic event. I'm a biologist, got my first degree from Sofia University, PhD from Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, and then moved to the UK, where I've been for 30 years, first in Imperial College biochemistry department, 2 years postdoc, and then I moved to the pharmaceutical industry for 25 years. I worked for a company called CycleCell, where we were developing anti-cancer drugs mainly. Started as a head of protein biochemistry, but then quickly moved to program leadership, and I've led many programs over the years, from early drug discovery through late preclinical stage, enabling clinical trials, and then phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials. So my role was providing a scientific leadership, and managing multidisciplinary teams of computational, medicinal chemists, assay development and assay screening specialists, biologists, molecular and cellular biologists, translational experts, and so on. I was also in charge of outsourcing to great vendors providing high quality services in ADME, safety pharmacology, toxicology, and then regulatory experts, etc. As a relatively small company, people on my position were involved pretty much from A to Z of this part of the drug discovery and development, and we have had a real luck to work with great academic laboratories around the world, which were studying the biological activity of biomolecules. We're developing targeted therapies, and the ethos of the company was actually to develop drugs for particular patients, meaning we were really keen to develop biomarker assays to identify the patients who will be actually responsive to our drugs. And generally, this is what I believe the modern drug discovery and development should be. So after 25 years, my husband, who is also an expert in this area, he spent time between the academia and pharmaceutical industry, decided to retire from our UK jobs and to move back to Bulgaria. And here we were very lucky. Actually, we did this towards the end of last year. Lucky to meet really very enthusiastic people here, amongst which Kristina, and I believe Dimitri is online as well, and to found this new type of business for our area, venture building studio type of business, as the idea is really to help development and commercialization of projects which are either in the academia or in a small startup companies who are lacking both resources, human money, and expertise. So we are greatly interested in helping the development with our expertise and are looking for projects which are developing novel therapies and approaches for diseases with unmet medical need. So currently we are building our portfolio. We will be working with people who we know from the years, consultants, vendors for providing services in this area, academic labs, etc. We are hoping to create this network of experts who can help developing assets in a very cost and time effective way. And I have to say, we are already talking to quite a few academic labs and small business, where they really are expressing interest in this type of investment and development of their assets, claiming that the lack of expertise is hugely important for us. So we are hoping to be able to fill this gap and help development of important therapeutic assets for the patients in need. So I think this is in a nutshell. I mean, it's a really great.
I think you are quite inspirational. It's great to see that such a scientist, worldwide famous, with dealing with so many interesting projects, actually is right now in Bulgaria and to supporting our ecosystem, our young minds. And I hope that we will have you on board next to this fantastic program, and of course together to develop the female entrepreneurship. Again, thank you, Daniela. I'm sure that into the discussion you will share more with us, of course. So far, we showing from the Bulgarian side ecosystem, digital innovation hub, venture build studios, biotech, and everybody that actually knows me, that knowing that I can't skip from artificial intelligence. So therefore, for me, it's a fantastic pleasure to say hi to Ekaterina Marinova. I'm very passionate because artificial intelligence is one of not only my hobby, but also I'm participating to AI Cluster Bulgaria, trying together with the biotech to finding this crossing and matching between those technology. Actually, the GRID program is stimulate, as Diane showing us, implementation of artificial intelligence next to the digital health, together with the cybersecurity solutions and many more. But stop from me. Hi, Katerina, pleasure to meet you. Can you please share more about you and your exciting work, of course?
Hello, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on such events and to hear about such an enthusiasm in the topic of AI and the topic of data. About the program, about everything that you're doing, it's fascinating. I just want to really share how great it is and how lucky am I actually to be part of it right now as part of this event. So back in the years when I was in my bachelor degree studies, I was trying to find my enthusiasm like every student. And I had the great opportunity to be part of a liberal arts system where I actually found it in the field of data and AI. So as every student, I was really confused what to do and how to continue. But then I continued to abroad in the Netherlands, where I actually had the opportunity to practice it and to have a great start at Microsoft. So I started working in the area. I started working in the area of data, in the area of AI, and also I saw how many opportunities are out there. So at some point, I got with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of ideas, and I wanted to see them in practice. So I wanted to hop on this AI train on the field and see what could happen. So here am I today. I'm working for a bank, Raiffeisen Bank, as data and innovation strategist. To actually see how these technologies are being implemented, to be part of this strategic approach towards it. But my enthusiasm wouldn't end in just that. I'm also teaching in a university, and I'm working with young talents in the area of big data and ML, machine learning. So really looking into their enthusiasm, trying to guide them and to teach them how to continue and how to find their dreams and follow where to invest their energy. And I'm also working with the community as a Microsoft MVP. So I'm working in the technology area of AI with really going on worldwide events, sorry for that, sharing knowledge, sharing best practices, looking for what companies are doing, working with young startups, working with a lot of students in realizing their potential, using the right technologies and finding their own ways. So I'm really, really glad that I'm here with all of you and we'll be able to share our thoughts in a great discussion.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ekaterina, that you're joining us. And I'm sure that people like you actually inspired and teaching young minds actually are quite important for our ecosystem, for development of interesting startups and interesting ideas. Talking about interesting ideas, startups, but also being here on live in the studio, I want to say hi again to Zornica and provide this time she to talk a little bit.
Yes, thank you.
Niles.
Thank you, Kristina, for having me here. Thank you, everybody for participating in this lovely initiative. I was listening to Diane's presentation very carefully, and it was lovely. Thank you for it. It made me think and feel that what I'm trying to do for the Bulgarian ecosystem is actually really worth it. And I'm gonna try to be very short. I'm gonna try, I promise. A little bit about me. I'm a lawyer. I'm a UK graduate in intellectual property law. So I'm dealing mostly with intellectual property, copyrights, branding, patents, all kinds of new technologies, innovations. And being a graduate from the UK that came back to Bulgaria and started to work in the corporate law firm just as every newly graduate would do, I found myself in a system that is not stimulating enough. So I decided to quit and to set up my own law firm, which is basically my first and so far the only successful startup that I did. 5 years from now, I set it up, and since then, I'm doing a boutique IP counseling, and my mission is to guide all kind of startups when it comes to setting up a company, doing the due diligence, and thinking of the real value of the intangible assets that they're creating. What I can see as my role in such kind of a program is the fact that, listening to Diane, I one more time spot a huge problem with the Bulgarian ecosystem, the Bulgarian education, and the chances that's being given to the best startups, because that program, the Network-Accelerator, would be an opportunity that's going to be provided only to some of the candidates. So what I do in my law firm, I'm helping startups getting at least to the pre-seed stage of their project, trying to organize them, to set them up, to do all the paperwork, to raise a little bit of the awareness that they're gonna need to have, so that they can finish with an MVP, they can finish with a good pitch, with a good idea, get to a pre-seed, get a pre-seed funding, and afterwards, if they're lucky, if they're good enough, then become a part from an accelerator program like this. So that's one thing that I do. The second thing that I am trying to do is, actually, I'm a co-founder and currently a CEO of a tech startup. I'm building a mobile app. It's in a very early stage. However, for me, being in the industry, looking at the whole ecosystem from an industry perspective, from a person, a young woman that looks for entrepreneurship opportunities, is helping me a lot in my legal firm, just because I can see the industry inside. I know what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and while working with all the startups in the law firm, I can feel them. I know their pain, I know their challenges, and since I'm constantly finding opportunities, just as finding Kristina, huge opportunity, I'm passing down this knowledge to the startups so that they can at least get the chance to apply to accelerators as great.
Wow. Yeah, very good insight from perspective of the startups. I'm curious, actually, can you name the most difficult thing in front of the technical startup in Bulgaria? Which is one thing.
At which stage?
Doesn't matter.
Most difficult thing in the tech, yes.
You said early stage.
Team formation.
Okay.
In the Bulgarian ecosystem, this is the most challenging thing so far that I've been spotted. It's either you're very good at tech, IT, perfect insight, and then you're missing the counsel side of the story, the legal, the accounting, or just the coach. Or you are very good at business management, operations, and then the tech is a little bit behind. So once you get to the moment when you have the core team right set on place, then the process goes really smoothly. That's the one thing that I can.
Amazing to hear this. Actually, you describe very well the GRID program. Probably you should be a host next time when we present it. Yeah, and with this, thank you, Zori, again, being here with me on live. I want to going on the next very, very interesting panel, which actually will represent you, the partners of the programs that supporting the program with their knowledge, with their know-how, with their network ecosystem, and I'm sure that they will share better than me why is the importance of such programs and what the actually organization is dealing to support the female entrepreneurship and other startups. So I want to say big hi to Hesham Sabri, who is the general manager of Roche Bulgaria. Hi, Hesham.
Hi, Kristina, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be there with you and the amazing speakers. I really love the discussion and the insights.
Fantastic to be here. I know that you have a very interesting news coming from Roche Bulgaria, so I'm passionate to understand more about them.
Exactly. In the coming 5 minutes, I will reflect and share with you on this, how important this partnership between the corporates and the startup, and how important, to empower this female entrepreneurship. Let me say a few words about me. So, my name is Hisham Sabri. I'm the general manager for Roche Bulgaria. I'm a pharmacist by education. I came originally from Egypt, but I spent very little time in Egypt, maybe only 1 year. Then I spent the last 19 years working in the healthcare industry between Roche. Before Roche, I also had the experience in Novartis, in Johnson Johnson, and Eli Lilly. For Roche, I assume you are familiar with Roche. So this year we are celebrating our 125 years anniversary. So it's a very special time for us. The company is pioneer and leader in the field of healthcare with big interest in partnership, collaboration, and innovation. So maybe the first thing I wanted to share with you is really why do we care about this partnership with startups as a corporate? And being in the healthcare industry and being a leader, and last year, for example, Roche invested 13.7 billion US dollar in research and development. We are almost the number one investor in research and development in the healthcare industry, and this gives you an idea on how much do we care about innovation. And here I quote from our chairman, Dr. Christophe France, that at Roche our belief that 99.9% of the ideas are out there. That's why we welcome passionate and talented startup. And we believe it's big help for the corporate because you bring this innovation, you bring flexibility, but the most important, you bring also to the corporate and to the employees the mindset. We work hard on our agile transformation, and we find the destination we want to go is very much related to the mindset of the startup. That's why we believe they are very important. Our 10 years ambition is to really deliver like 3 to 5 times more healthcare innovation at half the cost to society. And this cannot be achieved without the collaboration with the startups. Definitely, we have a lot of examples. We have startup days. We create Roche incubator for startup. But I selected to share quickly 2 examples with you. So the first example is a startup, Cresphere. And this one started in 2018. And we are very proud today that we have partnership as we speak now with more than 70 startup, where we help them to co-create solution, where we help them also to drive innovation, to really facilitate international expansion, to share expectation, to engage investor, to engage users. So it was very, successful partnership with the common objective of transforming healthcare together. The second and my last example now is what we call Healthcare Lab. And this one is very close to my heart. It's a startup accelerator. And it's very close to my heart because this accelerator want to focus here in Central and Eastern Europe. It's a partnership between Roche and EDIH. And yesterday, by the way, we launched the second batch. So 9 early stage startup from Central Eastern Europe were selected. And here in the middle, you can see Kelvin. So you can see that we have a Bulgarian representation also with this startup accelerator. And we are looking in the near future to have more and more. With the healthcare lab, they had like 3 focus areas or 3 challenges they wanted to solve. The first one was about healthcare data management. The second one was about screening and early diagnostics. And finally, digital therapeutics and disease management. My personal belief and my Roche position that together with collaboration, with startups, between startup and the corporate, with this strong partnership, we are able to scale innovation, but most importantly, we are able to doing now what patients need next. Thank you again, Kristina, and back to you.
Thank you, thank you. Quite interesting. Fantastic to see a Bulgarian company inside your program, and I hope more and more companies will find a trusted partner in your face. Thank you again. Of course, we will continue our great conversation during the discussion part. Our next guest is Kira Percival, Ireland Health Lead from Microsoft Ireland. I'm really happy to see her again. I have opportunity to meet her in a previous event, and I can share with you she's really inspirational. So hi Kira, pleasure to be here with you again.
Hi, good afternoon, Kristina, and good afternoon, everybody that's here today. It's been so fascinating this morning, or well, it's not morning now, it's afternoon, listening to everybody. So thank you for all the discussions so far.
Yeah, I will ask the colleague from the studio to run the presentation. Okay. Great stuff. So yeah, look, as Kristina mentioned, I'm Kira Percival. I've been working as the health lead in Microsoft Ireland for almost 2 years now. So supporting our health customers on their digital transformation journey. And prior to that, I worked for a company called IQVIA, supporting life science clients such as Roche. So we had great collaborations in the past, so which was fantastic. So within Microsoft, I sit across the full stack of services that Microsoft offer and across the full ecosystem of partners. And when we talk about partners, that's global consultancy firms, it's software vendors, but also indigenous organizations from the various countries. And really the role that partners play for Microsoft is huge, because they're all often having conversations right at the heart of what the customer wants. So really, for us, it's so important to support all our partners with our technology to enable them to provide the right solutions for customers. And for me specifically, that's within healthcare, right? So if we just go to the second slide, so I think it's just one back actually, and it's just to say that we're really proud to be part of this program, and thanks again to Diane for talking through it. We're really passionate and excited about it. We strongly believe that Microsoft have a really important role to play in supporting women in technology, given our leadership position in the market. And it's part of my role, specifically in Ireland, to help facilitate introductions to health customers. But there's a big network there, so where I can, look, I can try and facilitate introductions elsewhere as part of the Western Europe health team that I sit within. And I see it as our responsibility to actively promote more females in startups. And this program will really help to provide that guidance and support on how our technology can help businesses. So I thought this was interesting. This is the motto from Microsoft: come as you are, do what you love. And thinking about what I would say here today, you know, it made me reflect on what it feels like to be a female working in technology. And you often can be the only female in a group full of men. And it's not to say that makes me uncomfortable, but it just demonstrates that there is still a way to go in addressing the gender balance, especially in technology. And in Microsoft, women represent around just under 30% of the global workforce. In Western Europe, it's slightly higher than that. And when we look at leaders in Microsoft, our Western Europe leader, our president, Cindy Rose, our CFO, Amy Hood, she's one of the Fortune's most influential women. Like, it's clear that we are addressing that imbalance, but you know, as I said, there's still a way to go. And I think it was referenced earlier around the role of supporting female or young girls. And you know, I feel really passionately about that, and we have a lot of great initiatives in Microsoft to support girls through education, get them interested in technology, so that it's shifting that perception of you know, how they see their future in technology. So I think that's, you know, really important too, and we have a strong role to play there. And if we just go to the next slide.
So this is one initiative that I thought it would be important to highlight today, which is the Microsoft for Startups Founders Hub. You can see at the bottom of the slide there the link. So if you want to make a note of that and click in on it, that'll bring you to a wealth of material. So this is a startup program, and it helps startups to access our technology, provides coaching, and as you go through different stages of your journey, I guess, you can unlock further benefits. It'll give you access to our products. So we're accepting nominations for that at the moment. So you can go in, click on that link, you can nominate yourself, and there is a team that would work with you and support you. So if you need anything more on that, please feel free to reach out. I just added this quote. This is from an organization that took part in the Founders Hub in the foundation. So it's just something to share there with you. And then just finally, to say innovation comes from ideas, passion, from smaller companies, and the agility that they can bring. So we need to be able to find a way to marry that with large companies like Microsoft to help advance healthcare. So I'd be delighted to help and make introductions with my Bulgarian counterparts. And just finally to say, look, it's fantastic to partner on this wonderful initiative. And thank you to Diane and Kristina for the invitation to speak here today, and looking forward to the discussion afterwards too.
Thank you, Kira. Inspirational as usual. Fantastic news. I'm sure that a lot of people from our ecosystem are quite excited from the news that you bring again to us. Our third partners next to the GRID program is Connor Russell from Boston Scientific. Hi, Connor. Hi.
How you doing, Kristina? Delighted to be here. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes.
Is it coming through? Yeah. Yeah, so I'm delighted to be here, and thanks Diane and Kristina again for inviting me. And I've been new to the board as of maybe 4 months, I think, but it's a really exciting program, and for many reasons that you've heard, and I'll share with them. I'm delighted to be on this program, and I'm certainly really intrigued by the conversation that's happened up to now, and subsequently it'll be great to learn what's going on in the Bulgarian sectors. I'm the VP of Operations within Boston Scientific. I've got a couple of slides here on Boston Scientific, and then I'll talk a little bit about maybe why I'm here and why I'm very interested in this. Boston Scientific is I don't know how many people are aware of Boston Scientific, but there's probably about 35,000 employees worldwide, and it obviously grew up in the med device sector versus the pharma sector, and it's got a strong history of both innovation and growth within that sector. So I took out a couple of slides from a recent presentation they gave, and it just shows that the areas that we're focused in and the disease states that we're trying to treat. And our focus really is about introducing new technologies and new innovations to obviously advance patient care and really move forward the science that has been utilized and commercialized to treat the diseases. So, a lot of our focus has been around the heart, both maybe the plumbing and the electrics of the heart, but also we have diversified into peripheral regions and areas around the body, like endoscopy, neuromodulation, and electrophysiology. I suppose we like to think of ourselves as a high growth market, probably 6 to 7% growth per year. And again, trying to play in those spaces that's very, very innovative. So we're always on the lookout for new technologies and startups and new ideas that really change the game and how we treat medicine. And that kind of leads maybe to this slide, which is a huge part of our growth and our future is on our R&D portfolio. We invest internally about 10% of our revenue in R&D, but we also acquire huge, or maybe huge, but we spend a lot of our investment dollars on acquisitions. I think we probably over the last 10 years, we've bought about 30 companies at different stages of maturity and at different stages of commercialization. Some that are kind of tuck in, we call them, that are very close to what we do and maybe, you know, change the game a little bit. And then there's others that are obviously maybe more interesting and more nuanced and more radical, and they're probably at the early stage. And a mix of both of those is how we've balanced our portfolio and our investment in new products or new technologies. Over here on the right, then I think, you know, we've also invested heavily in VC. So we don't have an accelerator program per se, but the company is constantly investing and looking at startups and investing very early on with a view to helping those companies progress and mature and hopefully bring their product or their technology to a commercialization phase. And lastly, we also try and replicate that internally through our Imagine If programs, kind like a Dragon's Den forum, where internal ideas are competing for funding as well. Because as Hashim said, I think, you know, we are a big company and our big job is about commercialization, and you know, our strength is in iterating products for sure. We have developed new products from the ground up, but there's no doubt a lot of our radical innovation comes from outside the company, and that's fantastic because you know, there's a freedom and an innovation mindset there that's probably hard to replicate within a large corporate company like ourselves. So that's kind of Boston Scientific for me. I think just maybe some perspective of me. I'm working with Boston Scientific for over 20 years and based here in Ireland in one of our sites. We have about 1,100 people here in this site, and our main focus in my experience has been in the cardiac long-term implantable medical devices, and we've recently transitioned into neuromodulation devices and diagnostic devices. So lots of interesting technologies there in the connected medical device space of you know, treating cardiac conditions, stimulating spinal cords, deep brain stimulation, and therapeutic diagnostics. And we've recently diversified into, I suppose, large-scale capital equipment development and product development in that space too. So that's, I suppose, one reason why I'm here. I think I've talked about our interest and focus and a passion for new products and new acquisitions. It is really our lifeblood. And when you look at the history of our company, we have scaled and stepped up and grown hugely off the new business we've acquired. As Kira talked about, internally we have a huge passion and focus on diversity, and you know, that's probably another reason why I'm really excited to be part of this program and help in whatever way I can. You know, over the last 5 years in my role here, we've set up really strong employee resource groups inside, the most key of those being Women's Network. Most recently, I think our company was recognized by Catalyst, which is a really world-renowned recognition for female development, and we focused a lot internally on sponsorship, mentorship, you know, equity of pay, awareness training, things like that, and men as champions, and it really helped, certainly internally, for us to move the needle. Over a third of our senior leaders in the organization are female, and you know, we made massive progress in that, and there's a long way to go in that. And then lastly, you know, internally as well, like I was hearing today about the ecosystem in Bulgaria. I'm a key member of the ecosystem here in Ireland, Irish Medical or Irish MedTech Association as it's now called, and we really wanted to help Ireland be a focus area and a renowned area for digital health, and so it definitely played a role in developing the ecosystem here and understanding how all the different factors can come together to help strengthen and network and understand what we have to offer as a collective, and that's been a very exciting journey, and I've certainly learned a lot through that and made new connections through that. So that's kind of my story. I'm delighted to be here and delighted to be able to support this really great initiative, and look forward to the conversation later. So thank you.
Thank you. Great. I'm really happy that you're on board, and we'll have, of course, a lot of opportunities to discuss what type of collaboration we can bring from our ecosystem to join them. For sure, it will be a lovely adventure and journey. Right now, unfortunately, the time is very short, but still we're having 10-15 minutes for the best part of the today's edition, the most curious for me, and this is discussion part. Of course, there is a lot of questions. We'll try to answering the major one, and all of you who have anything to add or to ask our fantastic guests and speakers, please write to us, and of course we will manage to return you very soon. Okay, back to Zori. What do you think? What types of a question coming up on your mind when you're hearing our lovely guest?
A lot of questions. I actually managed
Make
to
it one, please.
Okay, I'm gonna pick one, and it would be one to Mr. Hesham Sabri, if I can do this. Yeah?
Yeah, please.
Great. I have a question. What is the Roche overall involvement with startup ecosystem so far? And in your personal opinion, how important do you feel that startups are in the overall ecosystem?
Thank you so much for the question. So as I mentioned, we have really big involvement with them. We have on the global level the annual startup day. So usually startups can like register in advance. We have several incubators in different parts of the world. I mentioned two examples, one in Central Eastern Europe, it's called the Healthcare Lab. And the other one I mentioned started in Germany, the Krisphere. So we have really heavy engagement, I would say, and I see big impact for them for the healthcare ecosystem, you know, because of the different mindset, the different culture. Startup take more risk, they are more flexible, you know. So they help us in terms of speed, in terms of innovation. That's why we see this collaboration and partnership is very critical to the aspiration and the vision we want to do for the healthcare system. This is my reflection. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. And one more, please, a quick one. What is the female share within your incubators and all the startups that you've been involved with? Just out of curiosity.
Sure. I don't have the number right now. I can get back to you offline, but definitely we care on that very, very much. I remember Diane in her presentation said even both. I mean, female entrepreneurship, but at the same time, if the owner is male also, it's good. I can get back to you with the number, but definitely from my perspective, it's very, very important. Diversity in Roche, for example, it's around 34% in leadership position globally, and locally in Bulgaria, we have it like 50%. I can be even more proud than global that 50% of our leadership team is female and 50% of the general Roche Bulgaria team are females. So definitely very important for us, but I can get back to you with the exact number.
Great. Thank you. Great.
And Hasham, just something that my colleagues from Sofia Tech Park asked me, you are quite welcome to meet the ecosystem, to meet and to see the laboratories, the amazing team of the Sofia Tech Park also. So I hope next time we will see on person each other here. I have also a question to Kira. Actually, I'm curious, as a partner of the program, what topic will Microsoft will be delivering to those amazing upcoming entrepreneurs?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Kristina. So Microsoft will be covering cybersecurity as part of the masterclass. Like, it's a great area. We'd be delighted to discuss it. It's so important for every business to consider. Unfortunately, cyber criminals are getting smarter, and with such a seismic shift in the use of digital technology, it really needs to be a top priority for anyone embarking on their own business. So through that masterclass, we'll be able to help you understand the impact a security breach would have on your business, especially when you're starting. IP is everything. So having the correct security measures in place. And for us, it's not just about secure devices and data, it's also people and process. So we can talk you through all of that, the key points around cybersecurity. So it'll make for a really interesting session, and we're very much looking forward to it.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, Zori, I see more questions.
More questions, yeah. Mr. Russo, a question to you, please. In your opinion, what are the key components of a successful life science startup?
Well, I think you mentioned them earlier. For me, I think building the team around you and having the diversity of necessary for what you're trying to develop. I'm on the other side of it. I'm on the buyer side rather than the seller side when I get to startups. And I know I'm on the medtech side, but when I think of a medtech device, it can be quite complex in terms of the use case, in terms of who's actually paying for it, who's getting the value of it, how are we going to be reimbursed for it. Yeah, we talked about cybersecurity. We talked about communication protocols, FCC regulations, never mind the FDA and medtech regulations. There's huge amounts of complexities that can come up depending on the type of product you're building, and never mind then the technical aspects of what you're trying to build, whether it's a electronic implant like ourselves, where we need firmware, software, mechanical, or whether it's a drug coded device, or so you want to make sure you have all those, and then obviously the funding expertise and making sure that you have the right people behind you to look after the legal side and to make sure that your funding is appropriately managed. And so to me, getting the right team and attracting in the right talent that's got experience in that space, and you probably you definitely want to be learning as you're going in a key space for that industry. And lastly, the second thing I think is really know your customer. There's technical solutions, but there's, again, understanding how the product is going to be used, who's going to use it. In our case, obviously, we're selling our products to hospital systems, or insurance companies are paying for it, but the patient is ultimately using it. So who's actually the customer? How will they use it? And getting out there into whether it's the operating theater, whether it's into the patient's home, and really understanding all the types of interactions that are going on, and baking that into your business plan. But you can't spend enough time, I think, with your customer understanding those perspectives. And to me, they're definitely the two key aspects to consider. There's lots of other, I would imagine, kind of issues that come up with various startups, but as I see it, they're the two. And as we think of internally buying companies, we obviously have a different lens than the person selling it. And so as you sell your business, or you're looking to sell your business, or target it to a company like ourselves to acquire, I think maybe understanding what a company would need and what they're looking for. We're obviously trying to look at margins. We're trying to look at
unfortunately, we are running out of time. I'm sure that probably you described Zori. I hope so. Startups and people like her. I'm sure that during the program we will release more and more information. What is the perfect candidate? What are the secret ingredients to the success? How to commercialize? How to find the perfect matches? So, Connor, we're counting on you and your expertise and knowledge. I have a very fast question to Diane. I know that she's very passionate about the program, but actually, Diane, who is the perfect candidate that you're expecting to meet through this great adventure?
Thanks, Kristina. Females really that again are working in digital health, life science, but have ambitions to grow and raise funding over the next 6 to 18 months. Again, they're full-time founders. They have a proof of concept. They want to be part of an international cohort. They want to really understand how will they operate outside their market, how will they scale their market, and they're really at a perfect stage. And I guess the last bit, I think it's a really important piece that I'd like to mention, is the commitment piece, is that it is a 10-week program and it's a very intense session. So for females that are interested and they fit the criteria, just to consider that you will be able to give that commitment to, be part of the sessions. the masterclasses, really to get as much as you possibly can. So just bear that in mind before you put the applications in. And I just want to say thank you so much again, Kristina, and for all the participations and speakers today. I've really enjoyed the session.
Great. We're enjoying also, and I'm sure that our audience learned a lot from this edition. Very fast, one question to all of the Bulgarian stakeholders. I'm wondering, from their opinion, what is the greatest challenge that actually the Bulgarian entrepreneurs and technology startup are facing? Again, it's probably starting with Rumyana.
Okay, probably I couldn't say exactly information because we have a lot of venture capital funds already here working in Bulgaria, but it seems to me that actually they need much more support from the local stakeholders, local environment, in order to be more confident to dare to apply, to develop their ideas, to become entrepreneurships. Exactly. It's my opinion, my experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Daniela, what do you think is the major challenge in front of the Bulgarian startups?
Well, I will probably say something very similar to Rumyana, just in comparison to our Scottish environment where we worked a very long years. Scottish enterprise got a very big support for the industry in Scotland. And I think something like this is probably missing in Bulgaria, a support, government support for everybody who really wants to commercialize, to get into the commercialization of their products. So that's what I really think. And I think building a stronger ecosystem where we have a network of people who support each other, women, men, really no matter, will help building the new business from spin-offs from universities and so on.
Fantastic, thank you. Ekaterina, what do you think?
Thank you, Kristina. So I would stay away from the support, the funding, and all the factors that we've already discussed. I'll focus on the talent. So I think that people, when they're forming team, when they're going into entrepreneurship, they should be focused on their skill set. They should be focused on what they're developing. What is the value that they're actually creating? Because the markets are changing, and nowadays we're talking about more softer side. Empowerment versus power, generosity versus urgency. We're talking about empathy. We're talking about collaboration. And I believe that once facing those challenges, once opening to those new skills, to like TE, Z-shaping, like all the shapes that they're already out there for the skill set. And even for the technology startups. So yes, technology is important, but it's the tool. We are creating value, and we're out there to create value and make better things.
Thank you. And of course, for my lovely co-host, I have a little bit different question, because you're answering actually which are the difficulties. But what do you think is the most interesting part for you that you learned today?
The most interesting part?
Yeah.
Huh. I think that for me, maybe the most interesting part is that I'm being into a process of shaping something very awesome for the female entrepreneurship ecosystem, and all these people right now, everybody involved in this discussion with all the projects, the knowledge and the way they're willing to contribute to bridging the gender gaps and creating diversity, and all this very might be a little bit of a cliche, but the huge problems within the ecosystem is something that, to be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised that it's on a so devoted level, like the whole accelerator program.
Great, thank you. I think that Zurnitsa making a really good resume of our meeting, of our lovely guest. Unfortunately, the time is running out. I'm sure that there will be a huge interest, and of course we'll think of additional event for going deeper next to the program opportunity, the ecosystem. What's coming next? I want to share with you that there are several upcoming events next to GRID program. On the 7th of February, February, our colleagues from Croatia will represent the program. If you are interested, you can follow through the website, through the social media. We will, of course, share all this information. On the 8th of February, there will be a meet our partners and board of the GRID program. And on 10th of February, it will be industry expert. I'm sure that a lot of the startups will be intrigued from this. I want to thank to our lovely guests. I'm counting on them to create together a sustainable ecosystem, this fantastic network that we already started. Something that I can share from the kitchen of the next edition of the BioClub here from Sofia Tech Park Studio is that our next edition will be dedicated to a fantastic initiative that we are started from the beginning of the year, which is called Spin-off Bulgaria. Such an event, such an expertise, actually, we hope that will support the idea to create, why not, 100 spin-off in the next decade. I'm sure the mission is possible with the partners, with the ecosystem like those that we actually showing today. So please like us, follow us, and see you soon. I hope with the very good news. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.
Здравейте, приятели и партньори! Последните 20 месеца бяха силно предизвикателство за всички дейности и бизнеси. Всъщност, за цялата ни цивилизация. През това време ние бяхме с вас, като бързо развивахме дигиталното си студио и подкрепяхме вашите събития, за да са още по-качествени и още по-близки до вашата аудитория. През месец септември бяхме класирани в топ 10 класацията на Международната асоциация на технологичните паркове за вдъхновяващо решение по време на криза. Сега ние ви предлагаме един надграден и подобрен клубхаус, за да сте още по-впечатляващи във всички ваши дигитални и хибридни събития. Добре дошли отново! Очакваме ви!